Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for another very interesting session that we're going to have starting this week. We really appreciate you being here today with us and starting this new week for very different topics and very interesting topics. Today, we're going to talk about professional development for teachers, which is something we wanted to do for a long time because we really believe that in these times, it's hard to continue working and training ourselves. So professional development comes very important nowadays. So let me introduce our speaker, Lucitania, Lucitania Tapia Perez. I'm going to read her bio so we can all have an idea who she is and what she does and what is her relationship with professional development. Solicitania Tapia Perez is a full-time professor at Language Sciences undergraduate program at the Philosophy and Arts School. She is a PhD candidate in bilingual education at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. She has participated in academic, editorial, and research projects in upper, and postgraduate levels in both the public and private spheres, as well as secular and religious institutions. Her research areas of interest are translanguages practices, educational technology, reflective teaching, and professional development for bilingual teachers. She firmly believes that teaching is a lifelong learning process that involves continuous personal and professional growth. The more teachers study to stay current, the more they will be able to meet their students' needs and their demands. Okay, Lusitania, thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate you to share and to work together during these times. Thank you again, and please feel free to start with your presentation.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon. I really appreciate that you are in this session with me, and we're going to talk about professional development, as Abdel has mentioned. And well, I would like that you learn a lot in this session, and we exchange information about professional development. I'm going to share my presentation in order to start. Okay, ready? Okay. Well, as mentioned, this session is about professional development for teachers. And well, the material that we are going to use for today, it's like any piece of paper. It can be a notebook and a pen or a pencil. And well, a cup of coffee, water, wine, why not, in order to talk about professional development, okay? Well, while you bring your paper and your notebook for this session, because we're going to work with some activities, well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to see in this presentation. We're going to see like some theory about what professional development is, and then some about reflecting teaching, some instruments for reflection and exploring our teaching, as well as professional development, how to start with our professional development, that I'm sure that you already do some things, but maybe you haven't realized that that is professional development. And I'm going to share some web pages and some material that have been used in my career, in my job, and I hope that you that they will be helpful for you too. Okay. Well, our goals for this session is to understand how reflective teaching supports professional development, recognize the need for continuous and sustained professional development, and evaluate some informal alternatives to improve teachers' practice, okay? By saying informal alternatives, that means that not necessarily professional development involves attending to school, like being enrolled in a graduate program or something like that. We have more alternatives. That nowadays, I think that it's a good time to do it, because since we are at home most of the time. I know that you are busy with professional and personal things, but we can explore our teaching, and we can start working on professional development. these days. Okay, well, I'm showing the professional development cycle. There are three elements here. We have professional practice, reflection, and professional development. Okay, well, in professional practice, we have that it's like, this is what we actually do in the classroom. Okay, how long have you been teaching? 2 years, a year, a month, 10 years, maybe? Well, we have that professional practice, like when we attend school every day and we give class and we practice with our students and prepare exams and so on. And then in the reflection is like to think about how well or how bad we have been taught, if what can we improve, things like that, okay? And then that leads to our professional development, okay? So in order to work on our professional development, we need to have certain time of professional practice to reflect on that one. That's a key point for our professional development, to reflect on what we do, and then the result would be our professional development, okay? Feel free to ask me any question during the presentation. Anyway, at the end, we're going to have some minutes for the questions session, okay? Well, and then we're going to reflect in order to become a better teacher. It is important that in the process of professional development, we keep in mind that there are like good things that we do in the classroom, okay? But there are some others that need to be improved, that we are not good at all, that we need to learn more, to study more about that in order to become a better teacher and then a best teacher, okay? But do not think like, oh my God, I am the worst teacher and things like that. No. All of us have like good and not so good or negative aspects about our teacher, or as the scholars say, we have areas of improvement. Well, here we have our first activity, okay? Well, I would like that in the notebook or the piece of paper that you have, make a list of 6 characteristics of a good teacher, okay? That is not right or wrong answer. It's according to you, in your opinion. Write down 6 characteristics of a good teacher. It can be like responsible, punctual, knows a lot about technology, helps students, support students in personal issues, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do it. Okay, well, meanwhile, I'm going to read some messages that you are testing. Leticia, hi Leticia. You are from Ecuador and you have been teaching for 19 years. Sandra, greetings from Tijuana. Linda from Puebla, Mexico. Nefti from Spain. I have been teaching for more than 15 years. Okay, Viviana, I'm from Chile. Teacher May, greetings from Mérida, Yucatan. Okay, I really, really appreciate your attendance. Okay. Well, I would like that you write on the chat one characteristic out of the 6 that you have written on your paper. Write, please, a characteristic that a good teacher should have. Yadira says willing to learn. Yes. Another characteristic, please. Cristobal says expert communication skills. Good. Nefti says teaching from the heart, creativity and good listener. Very good. Anonymous says leader, responsible, punctual, honest, empathic, and reflexive. Very good. Empathic. Teacher May says a good listener. Yes. Ruth from Ecuador says empathetic. Okay. Marcela says flexible and responsible. Anonymous says give routine. Javier says to be committed, patience, empathy. Okay, a good listener for feedback. Ale, interested in knowing his or her students, who they are and what they learn. Okay, very good. Well, we're going to keep that list because we're going to work later on that list, okay? Well, we have here those characteristics, all of those characteristics about a good teacher. So to continue, we're going to check what professional development is. So professional development is considered as initial preparation for pre-service and learning experiences for in-service teachers. So what does it mean? That professional development is for any kind of teacher, for novice teachers or pre-service teachers, and for in-service or experienced teachers, designed to improve the knowledge, competence, skills, and attitudes of the workforce. Okay. Most recent definitions, it says that it is the product of both externally provide and job-embedded activities that increase teachers' knowledge and help them change their instructional practice in ways that support students' learning. What does it mean? That as long as we improve in our teacher, we are going to improve and we're going to support students' learning. Okay? There are activities, as the presentation says, is like external and externally provided and job-embedded activities. So that means that it's like activities that we can do in the classroom and activities can do outside the classroom to improve our professional development. Okay. And then the objectives of professional development, it's like some of them are to update individuals' knowledge of the subject considering recent advances in the area, to enable the individuals to apply changes made to curricula or other aspects of teaching practice, to enable the schools to develop and apply new strategies concerning the curriculum and other aspects of teaching practice. Like, for example, here in Mexico, like since 2 or 3 years recently, schools have been, administrators have been interested in integrating social emotional learning into the curricula. So maybe we are not that expert on that, so we need to study about it in order to include our curricula. To exchange information and expertise among teachers and others is like, for example, you have a colleague, you have a coworker, a friend who is a teacher that is very good at a certain area of teaching, and then you exchange information in order to both improve, okay, and to help weaker teachers to become more effective, okay. Then we have reflective teaching. As I told you, it's strongly associated with professional development, okay? And I think that it's like the first step for professional development. So reflective teaching is a self-assessment of teaching wherein instructions examines their pedagogy, articulates reasons and strengths for their strategies, and identified areas for revision of improvement. As I told you at the beginning of the presentation, we need to reflect, we need to explore our teaching in order to identify our strengths and in order to identify our areas of improvement. Later on, once we have identified our areas of improvement, we put into practice we can put into practice formal or informal instruments in order to become a better teacher. And it also involves an examination of both the one's underlying beliefs about teaching and learning and their alignment with actual classroom practice throughout the course and afterwards. What does it mean? That we are going to explore our teaching in order to contrast, to evaluate what we think we do in the classroom versus what we really do in the classroom. Okay, let me give you a brief example. Some years ago, I invited one of my friends to observe my class, one of my classes. And well, at the end of my class, he gave me some recommendations. And one of them caught my attention because I wasn't aware of that. And I was like absolutely convinced that I was doing like the opposite. He told me that I never paid attention to the students that are in the front, that I always pay attention to the students that are in the back. And he says, well, you always pay attention to them. You are monitoring if they are working, if they have questions. You constantly ask them if they have questions, but what wants the one in the front? And I say like, no, I pay attention to all of them. And he says like, no, you think you do it. Maybe because you think that since they are in the front, they are paying attention, but they might not pay attention to you, to your class, to what you are saying. And you concentrate all your attention on the ones that are in the back. And to be honest, I haven't realized about that until he told me. Okay. So it's like we explore our beliefs, what we think we do in the classroom versus what we really do in the classroom. Okay. So, and then it's important to explore our teaching in order to discover and rediscover classroom life, teaching beliefs and practices, and to find out things in your teaching and classroom interaction that have been hidden from you. To gain awareness of our teaching beliefs and practices, to see teaching differently by recognizing the need of others, especially recognizing the need of more experienced teachers in order we share knowledge, exchange knowledge with them and learn from them. Choosing description over prescription, yes, we're going to explore our teaching and we are going to describe what happens in the classroom, okay? Not how the class must be, how teaching must be. We are going to explore in order to describe, to check what happens in the classroom. Taking a non-judgmental stance, that one is like a key point, okay? We should check and analyze what we do, not like to punish constantly ourselves, like I'm not doing this wrong, I don't know anything, I'm the worst teacher. No, okay, we have the right to be wrong. Okay, making personal connection to teaching is like you are going to reflect on your teaching, so we need to reflect on our personal aspects too. Okay, and having a beginner's mind. I have a question regarding this one, having a beginner's mind. How long did it take you to know how to prepare a class, how to design a lesson plan, and how to put into practice a lesson plan? How long did it take you? A month, a year? You are still in the process, maybe? Please write on the chart. How long did it take you to know how to prepare a class? Tanya Poveda, I have a question to you, and I'm going to take notes in order to check at the end and to answer at the end of the presentation. Okay. So please write on the chat. How long did it take you to know how to prepare a class? Every day, 1 hour, more than a year. Yadira from Toluca. Yes. Every year is different because of the student's needs. Okay, so we are still in the process of learning. Okay, well, we devote time in order to learn how to prepare a class. And then in certain cases, it took a year, a month, a week. Okay, so we need to learn how to explore our teaching. Do not expect to learn how to explore our teaching overnight, like from one day to another one. No, it takes time to learn how to explore our teaching. Okay, so it's like take it easy, relax, okay, and start exploring our teaching. Okay, so and then here we have this diagram about Gebhardt and Oprandi. We have to be aware of these 4 points. One is, the first one is awareness of teacher self. I mean, the person you are as a teacher. I'm not saying that we should change our personality, but we have to be aware of those features, of those characteristics of our personality that might impact, like in a negative way, or might be a disadvantage for our performance as teachers. It's like, for example, think about your bedroom in this moment. Is it organized? Is it clean? Everything is in the right place? Maybe not, okay? So we are not that organized at all. So what will happen if we are not organized in our job, in our role as a teacher? What if we lose an exam? Okay. If we forgot the grades, okay, the homework, the assignments for our students. So I'm not that organized in my personal life, so I must be in my job, okay, because that might affect my performance as a teacher and obviously my students' learning, okay. Thank God you only see this part of my bedroom because it's not that organized this morning, okay. And then the second one is awareness of teaching beliefs and practices. As I told you before, what we think we do versus what we really do in the classroom, okay? Attention to exploratory process. So we have to pay attention to all the process of exploration, as I told you. When we observe a class, when we observe another teacher, when we look for information on internet, that I'm sure that you do it, okay? To know more about teaching, and assumptions about exploration, what we think about exploring. Okay, are we exploring our teaching because someone, maybe our coordinator, the administrator, the principal told us that we must do it, or we really want to explore in order to improve our teaching? Okay. And then you might say, well, everything sounds good, but how can I reflect if I have many things to do? I have to prepare my class, to give class. Now I have to change all my program into an online course, and I don't have time. I have to prepare exams. I have to check those exams, to grade those exams. Well, here I have, like, we can start reflecting on our teaching, asking right after the end of our classes these questions, okay? Did the lesson work? Why didn't work? What should I change? How can I reteach this material? Okay, maybe you do not do it formally. It's normal that we are like in a hurry because sometimes we have more than one job, and then once we finish, we have like to run away to start the other one, or we have lunch in a hurry in order to arrive to the second job. But try to take like from 10 to 15 minutes, like to reflect and to ask yourself these questions about the class that you have finished. Okay. And then, well, we have these two activities. Well, you made a list of the characteristics of a good teacher, right? Well, now I would like that you rank from 1 to 6 according to the importance, okay? In your opinion, again, there is not right or wrong answer, okay? You have the 6 characteristics, so we're going to rank from 1 to 6. Obviously, the number 1 is the most important, and number 6 is the least important. Okay, do it, please. And try to type on the chat what is the first one, in your opinion, the most important. Meanwhile, I'm going to read some of your messages. Marisela says that in a year, I could notice more than consciously what I have to improve. Okay, Anonymous says more than a week, but sometimes more because we always need to add or change something. Yes, totally agree with you. Okay, so please write on the chat what was like the most important characteristic in your opinion of a good teacher. Responsible, Anonymous says responsible. Facilitator, yes. Affective teacher. Reflect about our classes. To be motivated teacher, a motivated teacher, very good. Yadira Carrera says, from my list, number 1, rapport with students, okay? Notes the language, English, and notes about classroom management, very good. Language, Silvia, being patient. Ruth from Ecuador, the ability to develop relationships with students. Love the subject that is teaching, that one is very important, okay? Because, I mean, if we don't feel enthusiasm about the subject, the content that we are teaching, we cannot like promote that in our students. Like they love learning and they love that content that we are teaching, okay? Well, now let's go with the activity number 3. So in the activity number 3, you are going to put a check mark in the ones that you have, okay? So you have those 6 characteristics, you have ranked into from 1 to 6, so you're going to put a check mark, okay? if you have those characteristics, okay, put a check mark in the characteristics that you have, only in the ones that you have, okay. And then please in the chat write type the ones that you don't have, or the ones that you think that you need to improve, okay, that you are not good at all. Abraham Rodriguez says a good teacher is someone who inspires, who feels passion for what he does. Yes, agree. Show empathy, love teaching, dynamic teacher, very good. So now tell me the ones that you need to improve or the ones that you do not have. I'm not gonna read names in order you feel comfortable saying the ones that you need to improve or you don't have yet. A good listener. Okay, any other? A good listener. I think knowing about the subject you are teaching is very important. Yes, Viviana. Deep knowledge of a passion for the subject matter. Willing to learn and change. Responsible, may dynamic class, organization, facilitator, positive mood, being punctual. Yes, passionate. Elena says, for me, patience. Okay. Well, there in your list, you have the ones that you have checked. That means the ones that you have. And each teacher knows the ones that we need to improve. Okay. So that is an activity of reflection. I'm going to show you another activity in order to reflect on our teaching, in order to try to identify areas of improvement. Okay. I have here 8 statements. We're going to choose one and we're going to complete according to our interests, okay? I would like to improve, for example, I would like to improve my technology skills. Some people are unhappy about, like my students, some people are unhappy about the way I design exams. I'm curious about translanguaging. I want to learn more about distance learning. An idea I would like to try out in my class is to combine conventional material with technological resources or digital material. Something I think I would really make a difference is, some I would like to do to change is, right now, some areas I'm particularly interested in are the use of technology, okay? Digital classes, okay? In my case, I would like to improve the way I give instructions. I usually have problems in order my students understand my instructions. Okay. Well, please choose one, complete according to your interest, and type on the chat, please. I need to improve empathy for misbehaving students. Yeah, sometimes we got desperate because they get desperate because they are not paying attention to us, but we do not stop thinking like, why, how do they feel, what why are they acting like that? Okay. Danny says empathy, prepared, interactive with the student, responsible. I have to be better tolerant, a great communicator, having a good sense of humor. Okay. Be prepared in knowing and teaching the language, love for teaching, creative, responsible, empathetic, helpful, explanation, organization, okay. Innovator, look for new tools. Yes, that's very common. I have had in the school where I work, I have had the students who take class with me, like when they are in first semester, and then they take class with me when they are in third, and then so on in 5th semester. And sometimes when I apply an activity, they say like, yes, it's an activity that you did when we were in 1st semester. And I say, oh my God, I need to innovate because I think that I'm like doing exactly the same activities. So I need like to refresh my teaching. I want to know more about neurodevelopment. Okay. So, and then, well, now that we have identified our areas of improvement and areas of interest to improve our teaching, now we're going to work on our professional development, okay? There are 2 disadvantages or like limitations that teachers have in regarding professional development. One is the time. We have like certain schedule in our job. Like for example, in my case, I work from 4 to 9 p.m. in the classroom, yes, in front of a group, okay? But outside, as all of you, prepare class, prepare exams, check homeworks, provide feedback, answer emails, and so on. We have many, many, many things to do. So the time is not, it's limited, okay? So we need to take into consideration that in order to select an appropriate instrument to work on our professional development. And then the second one is money. Maybe we are interested in studying a master's degree, taking a certain course, but we don't have enough money. We can't afford it, okay? Well, there are some like free instruments that we can use in order to improve our professional development. Maybe not in this moment, but maybe later on, we can enroll in a program and then study, okay? Well, considering these 2 limitations, we have now like the 2 ways of work on our professional development. One is formally, as I told you, to start a program like master degree and a master degree, maybe another bachelor degree, or informal like observation, exploring through a supervisor, keeping a journal, okay? And then here you can work individually and you can work collaboratively with your students, with your colleagues or co-workers, okay? Or combine both. What I usually do is like combining both. Like I work on myself in certain aspects, but I work collaboratively with some colleagues in order to we both improve our teaching. Okay. Then we have some other aspects to consider. The purpose. What am I engaging in the process? Okay. Am I engaged in the process of professional development and exploring my teaching because I want to, or because someone told me to do, like my coordinator demanded to do? Mood. How am I going to conduct my product? What is the likely outcome of this process? Like to learn more about teaching strategies, to develop teaching skills or digital skills, resources. What are the resources, both human and material, that call upon to help me complete my process? Refocusing. Do I suppose I will have to explore more? It's like, for example, maybe you established a goal, like I need to work on this, but during the process, you became more interested in another one, or you have realized that the first one that you have chosen is not that like how can I say, is not like that important or as important as the new one. It's like, for example, I guess that, well, at the beginning I thought about how to work on classroom management, but in refocusing, I have discovered that I have to work more on becoming a coach, or like listening to my students, more on classroom management strategies or things like that. Okay. So then here we have the instruments of okay. Oh, so you're telling me that that I give like not enough time for the activities. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you more time to type on the chat. Sorry. Well, here we have the instruments for professional development. Okay. We can work individually, in pairs, in teams, or according to the institution where we work. Okay, so and then there are like instruments that are informal, the ones that are like on the top, and the ones that are formal, the ones that are like in the second part of the chart. Okay, self-monitoring is like when you observe your own class. How you're going to observe your class? Well, we can record our classes, or we can take pictures of our classes and then analyze that recording, analyze those pictures that we have taken, okay? And then it's similar to peer coaching or peer observation. We invite a friend who is also a teacher to, or a coworker, a colleague, to our class, and then that teacher observes the class, and at the end of the class, he or she give us feedback about how the way we gave the class. Okay. And then journal writing, as you can see, journal writing, you can work individually, in teams, or in pairs. Well, journal writing is like a collection of how the class went. Okay. Well, at the end of your class, you write on any journal an entry, and that entry is like you describe what your class was about. Okay. Not only like describing your lesson plan, but describing how you felt, how the students felt, how they react to them, to the activities, if they were like motivated in that class, if they worked well, if there was like an external factor that impact on the students' behavior and mood, or maybe in yours. Okay, action research that you can work individually, one-to-one, group-based, or in institution. Action research is like, yes, it's research, and you might say, well, it's a lot of time. It's like you start thinking about qualitative, quantitative data, and mixed method approach, and all those things. Well, action research is a very friendly way of doing research. Okay, you identify an area of improvement, and then you collect data, and then you, based on that data, you make changes on your lesson plan, and then you apply those changes, put into practice those changes in your lesson plan, and then you reflect about like, well, did they work? They didn't? Okay, and then if it is necessary, you look for more data, for more information on the net or books. Okay, and then here we have journal articles. Well, regarding journal articles, it's like, I'm sure that you check different web pages in order to obtain material. Like, for example, worksheets, flashcards, presentations. Okay, well, the web pages that you use in order to collect material, or like to find out material like worksheets or flashcards, okay, have like a special section, okay, in the one teachers write journals, or I mean, write articles, okay, so you can read them in order to learn from those teachers, okay. Those ones are very, very interesting, because teachers who face the same problems that you are facing in the classroom are the ones that are writing those articles. It's good that you read books, okay, but by scholars, but maybe, I don't know, Harmer or Jack Richards is not facing the problems that you are facing in the classroom. And those articles are written by teachers who are facing the same problems, like maybe how to teach to 30 or 40 kids. Okay, what am I going, what to do if my computer is not working? Okay, what about discipline? Okay, so you can read those articles in order to get ideas from other teachers who have experienced the same problems that you do. Critical incidents, you can work like one-to-one or group-based. It's like where there was like a specific situation, and then you make like a report, and then you analyze what happened about that critical incident. Is maybe a student that is misbehaving, in order to find why is he misbehaving. Okay, team teaching, you select the strategy you want to improve, but like 2 or more teachers work on it, exchange material, exchange information, and put into practice to improve that area. And then we have the ones that are formal. And then in this one, besides we need to invest time, we need to invest money. Okay, that is workshops. Well, not in this case because you are taking an online workshop. So in this moment, you are working on your professional development. Okay, seminars, conventions, mocks. Okay, or like maybe enrolling to in a school to get a bachelor degree or a master degree. Okay, and but that one's also depends from the institution if they let you attend, or maybe if they support you economically to attend to those events. Okay, to be honest, I started the master and the PH because I received support from the institution. Okay, so then, as I told in this one, here we have journal articles. Well, I'm going to share with you some web pages that I use to look for information, look for material, but also to look for those articles and read tips about what others teachers do in the classroom. Like, for example, this one. This one is one of my favorites, Teachnology. And then there is a section that is tools and tips. So, and then in this one, we can get those articles, read those articles. It says, teaching tips. All of these tips have been completed for over a decade and a half. Make sure to join to our free email newsletter to receive these tips in our inbox weekly. Have a teaching idea? We would love to hear it. We will post it in our library for teachers across the world to learn from. Okay, so even here you can share your ideas, what you do in the classroom to help other teachers. Okay, this one is busy teachers, and then in the articles here we have in this section there are more than 2,000 articles that cover essential ESL topics, such as how to teach grammar, use realia, and teach younger learners. There are also a lot of lesson ideas and funny activities included in the articles. Okay, these ESL articles, for example, is, and then you have more information. Okay, then you have like the most popular. Okay, and then as you can see, there are like different topics. Then this one is like Bogut's work, ESL.com. And then here we have ESL articles on teaching, ESL and EFL, and then you can find. Okay, there is another section that is ESL for adults. Okay, in this one, you are going to find out suggestions about how to teach English to adults. This one is mesenglish.com, and then in this one, we don't have like ESL articles. In this one, we have forums, and then it says, welcome to ES English, resources for teachers of young learners. All of the resources are designed to be versatile and useful across the broad spectrum of ages and levels. This site hosts flashcards, worksheets, and handouts to match phonics worksheets and classroom games, projects, and other activities. And then check. Here we have, you click on forums, and then you have teachers helping teachers. And then besides, you have like the worksheet, the material for your classes, okay? Teachers start like typing comments about that material, okay? And suggestions about how to improve and how to use it, okay? And well, now that we have this, that we have selected our instrument, okay? There is not like right or wrong instrument, okay? All of them have advantages and disadvantages depending on the time that we have, okay? And the area of improvement, okay? And the resources that we have, like if I want to work individually, if I want to work with a co-worker, if we are going to work like with the teaching staff of my school, I'm going to select the instrument, okay? Well, once we have selected the area of improvement and the instrument, we have to keep in mind this starting point. The teacher must be involved experientially in the process of development, since by itself, knowledge of how to change does not mean change will be initiated. It's like knowing, learning, reading about a certain area of teaching without putting it into practice is not enough, okay? We might read several articles, we might read several books about teaching, about the area of improvement, but if we don't do not put into practice, we won't learn. Okay, so we look for information, we read, and then we make changes on our teaching, and we put those changes into practice. Okay. For improvement to occur, new skills must be guided, practiced, and reflected upon in collaboration with colleagues. That is very important, okay? As I told you, there are some instruments that are that you can work individually, okay? But working with colleagues, it's like pretty essential in professional development because we can learn from one another, okay? Teachers are at different places developmentally. Therefore, allowances for various entry levels and individual differences need to be built into the process, into the professional development structure. What does it mean? It's like the process of professional development is different from one teacher to another because of the characteristics of each teacher, the areas of improvement, the teaching style, the characteristics of the student. So do not compare your process with another teacher. Is like relaxed, okay? You are improving on your own, yes, with the help of other teachers, but there is not like only one way to follow that process of professional development, okay? Then we have conclusions. Teacher must teach, but teaching is incomplete if we stop learning, okay? So we have to devote time for our professional development. Teachers who do not take time to reflect immediately find their memories become vague as the rest of the day, carries its own problems and situations, okay? So we need to reflect right after the end of the class, as I told you. Take some from 10 to 15 minutes to reflect, to check what we have done in class and how the class went. Improving knowledge and skills through constant education in the profession is a must for truly committed educators. So professional development is not a matter of choice, okay? It's a must. We have to work on it. They should construct their professional uniqueness by reflecting on their actions, by finding willingness to work collaboratively with colleagues, okay? And then finally, I want to share with you this quote that I found some years ago in a book that made a great impact on my teaching. It says, who dares to teach must never cease to learn, okay? So it's like learning, it's like part of our teaching, and then it is like formal or informal, individually or collaboratively with other teachers. We must keep studying, okay? And well, I would like later on, because I would like to answer some of your questions, but please check this video in YouTube, The Importance of Teachers Who Care. It's like a very good video that will make you reflect who you are as a teacher and how important you are for not only for your students, but also for the society, okay? In those bad days where my classes were not that good, I usually watch this video in order to keep calm and continue, okay? And like not to lose the enthusiasm for learning and for teaching as well, okay? Well, those are my references. And well, that's it. Tell me if you have any question.
Okay, Lucitania, just organize the way we're gonna work, because Lucitania plan today to give you the theory on these 45 minutes in order you can have an idea what professional development is. And right now she's gonna answer all your questions, because we've seen on the chat that you have lots of questions regarding your level, regarding your students, and she's gonna try to answer and give you very practical examples and strategies for your professional development, because she's an expert on professional development. So all the questions you might have, please write it on the chat. So don't go now. The webinar hasn't finished yet, because the next part, it's a very interactive part in which you are going to tell us what aspects do you need to work on your professional development, and she's gonna answer. So don't go. We're gonna be here until 2, and after we finish around 2, I'm gonna have a surprise for you, so you have to wait. You have to wait till the end because I'm gonna have a very important announcement. So, Lucitania, I'm going to post some questions on the chat box. Okay?
Okay, well, I would like to start with two questions. One from Tanya and one from a teacher who says that is from Peru. Tanya Poveda says, in your opinion, do you consider be first a teacher and then specialize in a specific subject or start working as a teacher in a subject you already know? How will be better to start? Well, I would, in my opinion, I think that you will start teaching about something that you already know. And at the same time, you are like teaching, obviously, to learn about methodologies, approaches, strategies for teaching and learning. And then maybe once that you are like in the comfort zone, try new things. It's like, for example, in my case, I work with teenagers and adults, okay? But I'm interested in working with kids. Yes, I want to take the risk, but first I need to study, okay, about how to work with kids. The same is like my area is linguistics, okay? But maybe, well, what if I start studying like social studies or something like that? Well, it's valid, but first we need to learn about the subject. But the first step is like to start something that you know and that you obviously that you like, okay? And then a teacher from Peru says, what about the level of language? Yes, that one is like pretty important, okay? But I mean, I think that we should make a balance according to the interest and also according to our preparation. That it's important, yes, the language, but it's also important our skills for teaching, okay? We might like good non-native speakers, like English speakers, we might sound as a native speaker, but what if we don't know how to teach and how to give a class? Okay, so both are important. And then even in our own language, we are like still in the process of learning. We listen to phrases, words, new words all the time. Okay, so it's like the same as teaching. Learning about the language, it's something that never stops, even in our own language. Okay, more questions? Can you explain the information about MOOCs, please? Well, MOOCs is like massive online open courses. And there are like universities that offer online courses. You enroll in that course and then they give you like a certain amount of time, like it can be a month, 2 months, 5 weeks, okay? In the ones you develop activities, you study, and at the end, you pay for the certificate, or maybe since the very beginning you paid for taking the MOOCs, and then at the end you receive a certificate. Like for example, here in Mexico, UNAM has lots of courses, not only about teaching, but also about other areas, like for example, history, technology, and things like that. Most of them are free. At the end, you pay for the certificate. Okay, it's like taking a workshop, but not like as in only one session as we're doing in this case. It takes more time, okay, because the information is a lot. Okay. Dario says many administrators and or public schools make teachers to get into courses as mandatory. Do you consider that forcing teachers into their professional development process is a good idea? Well, obviously the ideal is that each teacher starts the process of professional development as his or her own interests, okay? And yes, it's valid, and it happens that sometimes we are not that willing and we are not enthusiastic about starting our professional development or taking those courses because they are like, as you said, like mandatory. Okay, they are mandatory, or maybe they are like scheduled in day or in a time that you have problems that you can attend, that is difficult for you, or like for example they are about topics that you are not interested in. But well, I think that you should take the best. it says like, anyway, I have to take it, so I'm going to learn about it. Okay, at least I'm going to learn something. Okay, and then at least you can get like 1 or 2 ideas from the speaker that you can use in your teaching. So if you are like taking them, well, attend and try to take the best from your teaching. Any other? Karina says, could you please repeat about assumptions about exploration? Is like for example, as I told you, we need to learn about how to explore the same way we learn how to teach. Okay, so then we learn how to explore, and then based on that process is like, what did I have learned about myself as a teacher? Okay, it's like assumptions, it's like making like conclusions. So it's like, I explore my teaching, so now what am I going to change, or what I need to modify about my teaching or improve in my teaching? Okay, Cristobal, it says, how can teachers identify and build on their strengths and make time for professional development in social studies? It's like, well, regarding social studies, I think that it's like, as in most of the cases, like as in for any content, I think that we should like evaluate the way, analyze and be honest with ourselves, like what we do in our teaching. Cristobal, maybe you you teach different courses. I recommend you to record one of your classes. It can be just voice, or if it is a video, it's much better. Well, in that case, you record and then you analyze what you do. Maybe try to compare with another course that you do that you feel like more comfortable, and then check what you do in that class in social studies and what you do in the other ones. Okay, so that you can like get the strategies or get activities that you do in the other classes to apply into the social studies. Okay, but try to not concentrate at all on the content. It's like the theory that you teach. Instead, try to concentrate on the way you teach that theory. Okay. Nefti from Spain, he says, one question I would like to ask you. Well, I am academic coordinator in English school, and one of my teachers, who I consider to be a really good teacher in terms of language, has a very poor attitude towards teamwork. That it's really thought for this person to develop interpersonal relationship with other fellow teachers as well, to work collaboratively. What could we do? Well, since you are the coordinator, well, you are the head of that teaching staff, I think that you should talk to her or him privately and to know why. Maybe because that teacher considers useless, maybe because that teacher considers that is like more work, maybe that teacher sees that it's useless because the other ones are not like interested in working collaboratively. So try to know first why, and then try to like negotiate. Okay, try to negotiate and start working, but maybe not like, if you are a teaching staff of 10 teachers, maybe make that teacher to work collaboratively with 1 or 2 as much. Then little by little, you add more and more activities in the ones that 10 or the whole teaching staff works in an activity. Okay, but I think like there the key point is to know why he's not that willing. Why is he or she having that attitude? Okay. Anonymous says, thanks for everything. Can you repeat the names of the pages that you showed before? Okay. Yes, let me show you. One is this one is technology. Like instead of technology, we say technology. Besides the articles that I told you that we can check, we can also check games, principle-based makers. Okay, check. Do you check? Here we have a section for professional development. Okay. We also have lesson plans, rubrics. Okay. Then we have for busy teachers, we have articles, but we also have worksheets, posters, okay, recommendations of books, tongue twisters. So in fact, we can make our students practice tongue language through tongue twisters, and we teachers also can practice the language through tongue twisters. The other one is Google's wordesl.com. They have ESL articles, lesson plans, crosswords. Okay, I like these web pages because it doesn't matter the book that you are using, the textbook that you are using with your students, they are very helpful. And also you find activities for any age of your students. As I told you, I work with adults and teenagers, but I know that most of you work with kids. Well, you are going to find material too. Okay, this one is mesenglish.com. Here we have flashcards, worksheets, games, certificates. And a characteristic that I like about all these web pages is like material is free. Okay. So, and then those are the pages that I use. mesenglish.com, bubblesworthesl.com, BC Teachers, and Teachnology. Okay. At the end of the presentation, well, you have the link to access this presentation and also my email address. So feel free to send me a message and ask me for these web pages or maybe other material that you think that I can help you. Do it. Feel free to do it, and I will answer you. Mr. Ortiz is telling Nefti a suggestion about that teacher. He says, you could create a workshop where you can include all your team and at the end ask him to give a conclusion about the workshop. It could be physical activities. Very, very good. If there is a huge percentage of students who do not have a computer at home, what do you recommend for teachers to work with them? Like, for example, this time, well, maybe to I don't know, maybe, well, that could be like really, really difficult nowadays since we are teaching without being in the classroom. I think that you could like design some like worksheets that include explanation, okay? And try to explain the topics in those inside the same worksheets, inside the same exercises, and try to link the explanation of the topics that you are teaching with what they have on TV or like the situations that happen at home or material that they have at home. Like, for example, for teaching English, try to use materials that they already have in their classroom. Like, for example, to read the nutrition facts of the product, or like, for example, if they collect cards, like, for example, my students love cards about soccer players, and most of them are in English, or like also football players. Well, I usually use those materials that they already have, like authentic material, for my activities. Okay, well, try to think about what they already have at home that can be useful in my for my activities. But inside the worksheets, you try to include a brief explanation or an example about how to do it. And well, the way of delivering, I think that you will like make an agreement with the institution in order they share with the students, and then also collect. And later on, you attend school and then collect the material and then check. I know that it's like time consuming, but I think that is like we are living in a moment that we were not prepared. Okay, so we should be like willing to work, okay, even if it demands more time. I know that it's like difficult. Okay. I was checking the pages that you recommended. Oh, they are already useful. Thank you, okay. Thank you, Jessie. Maria Cristina says, I hold a bachelor degree in international businesses, but I have been teaching English since I obtained my degree, in other words, for 4 years. I think I want to develop a professional career in teaching ESL. When do you think the right time to invest in a master program? Well, that depends on you. Like how many hours do you teach? Okay. To me, it has been very, very difficult to end my PH program. And once I made the decision, well, I started in SM, like in Grupo SM, like 2 years ago. And then last year I stopped because I didn't have enough time. And then to do my homework and to read and all those things. Okay. And then now I'm back in SM and I'm about to finish my PH program. But that one is like depends on like how much money, how much time do you have. Like, and then besides if you have kids or things like that, you have to consider that too. Okay. But well, the advantage is that nowadays there are a lot of master programs that are online. So check if if they are like schools available for you to take a master, to enroll in a master program. Okay, but we try to be very realistic. Analyze all the situation, like how much time do you have, how many hours will you work, how many hours will you invest on that master program in order to make the right decision. Becky, thank you for what you are saying. Abdel, I don't know if you can help me to post on the chat the link of the video.
Yeah, Lucitania, I already did. So the link is it's on the chat box for
Okay.
the survey, and the video
And
as well.
for
I'm
the
gonna
video.
post it too.
Okay.
No problem.
I have one more, just only one more question. I don't know if we have time.
Sure, pop it up.
So, Carolina says, when you have a class in which almost 80% of the students are not willing to learn the language and you have tried everything you know and cannot get them interested in the subject, including self-improvement, using different strategies, talking to them, getting closer to know them, but nothing seems to work. So the ones that are willing to learn do not have the chance to receive a teaching according to the interest level. I'm stuck. What should do I do in that class? Well, I have had that situation. I teach a course that is Introduction to Linguistics, and it's theory, like concepts all the time. And my students is like, Miss, is that useful? I want to become a teacher, and you are teaching linguistics and theory and the origin of language, and the theory is about the writing system. So it's like history, but about linguistics, and they don't like. Well, I have tried everything that you have mentioned, and I have felt the same way that you feel. Like you say, like, oh my God, this like I cannot solve this. Well, what it works in my case is like I show them the importance. Okay, the importance that says like, well, this is going to be useful outside the classroom in your daily life. Okay, to make progress on your learning, to in the society. I mean, not only in the class, not only to have a grade, not only to pass and to get the 70. It's like show them the importance of like that what you are teaching. I think that you are like teaching English, Carolina. Well, show them the importance to learn English, what they are going to do with that information that you are sharing, with what you are teaching outside the classroom. They can like travel abroad, interact with other people around the world, knowing more cultures. So it's like try to show them what they can do outside the classroom with what you are teaching. And it's like it is like very, very useful. Anonymous says, what I understood is that professional development for teachers is a way can improve the skills and in turn boost our students' outcomes. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Well, Abdel, I think that that's it, but we have more time.
I think we have time for a couple of questions, and then I go with announcements and the surprise that I told you. So don't go, just stay with us. So we have time for
Okay.
because we have a lot of questions.
Yes. Miguel says, nowadays technology is important to take into our classes and make them easier. But what happens if some teachers don't want to use technology for their classes? Yes, I have coworkers who are not that willing because they are like afraid of technology. Okay, and in most of the cases, because it seems that our students know more about technology than us. So it's like exchange that information and start like little by little. Okay, it's like, for example, do you have Facebook account? Well, I think that you are like more or less familiarized with Facebook. Okay, well, start using Facebook. Okay, with like certain limitations about privacy and all those things. Maybe do not use your personal account for your teaching. Uh, Use another one that is like just for profession and start working on it. Okay, and then I think that you use WhatsApp with your friends and with your relatives. Well, try to use WhatsApp. Start like little by little. Do not expect like from one day to another one that you become a techno geek. No, it's like start with something that you already know and that you already use in your like in every day, and then later on you can use like as we are using now Teams or Zoom or other platforms, but start like little by little. It's like, for example, I have a group in this semester that they are not that willing uh, to use technology because they are not that good. Even they are young, they are in their 20s. And what I asked them to do it is like I share with them my phone number and I told them, okay, so we're going to have like classes, and my group is of 15 students. So I make 5 groups in the WhatsApp, and it's time consuming, but it works. I give the class, not like the full class, like some recommendations and some like key points of the classes to this. So I usually make 3 phone calls. I mean, one for each group, and then I teach them the class. And then for the homework, I say, well, you don't like using the computer, you think that you are not good at it's like this is stressful for you. Well, you do the homework, the assignment on your notebook, you take a picture and you send via WhatsApp. Okay. Well, it's that technology. It's not like something wow as we are using now Teams. Okay. But anyway, it's technology and it works in my case. Okay, well, start like little by little. Okay, Miguel? Uh, there is a teacher that says that he has been teaching for 29 years. Thanks a lot for the information. Okay, thank you so much. Anonymous says, most of us, we are not native English teachers. How we are going to compete with the situation? Well, in fact, I think that it's like more beneficial than detrimental to not to be a non-native speaker, because, I mean, yes, we need to improve our, especially our pronunciation, okay? But it's something that we need to practice, okay? But the advantage that you have towards a native speaker, okay, it's that you know how to teach, you know all the skills. Okay, so practice your language and keep in mind that you have like something that native speakers do not have. Yes, there are some institutions in the ones that they ask for native speakers to teach English, but you already know you have more tools than them since you know all the methodology of teaching. Okay, it's like keep learning, practice the language. Okay, as I told you, even in our own language, we discover new words, okay, new vocabulary, idiomatic expressions. So, like, do the same in the case of English. Okay, Silvia Patricia says, I think linguistics is the best subject ever. I really love to. Well, yes, sometimes my students don't think so, but well, once I show them like the importance to know about linguistics, okay, it's because my students study to become bilingual teachers or translators and interpreters. I show them the importance, okay, and well, they change their attitude. Okay, well, I'm going to show you the definition of professional development. Abdel? Yes?
Yes, please. Because we're just finishing, and I just want you to finish with your final thoughts with a conclusion and remind all teachers what professional development is. And after your conclusions, I'm going to give that special announcement that you are waiting for.
Okay. So, well, to conclude, it's like professional development. It is considered as initial preparation for pre-service teachers and learning experiences for in-service teachers, designed to improve the knowledge, competence, skills, and attitudes on the workforce. More recent definitions say that professional development is the product of both externally provided and job-embedded activities that increase teachers' knowledge and help them change their instructional practice in ways that support students' learning. It's like the more we learn, the best we're going to teach. Okay? And never stop learning. That's it.
Very good. Thank you, thank you, Lucitania. It was very interesting because we never stop learning, and there are a lot of comments that I'm keep posting on the chat so we can all learn from each other. And I know that there are several questions about what we can do every day to work on professional development. Thank you for all your ideas, all your web pages. They were very interesting. And I'm going to share our calendar for this week's workshops. Okay, so you can all see what's gonna happen this week because we prepare several workshops for you this week. Starting today was professional development. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about the use of smartphones in the classroom, which we're gonna be adapted a little bit because we understand that right now we are not on the classroom. So we're gonna try to talk about the smart devices to work online. So it's gonna be very interesting because we are working right now in a very different situation. Teaching on online, so it's going to be very helpful for you. And later we're going to talk about learning with songs. We understand that today also kids and parents and you as well are willing to try something different, and maybe a good way to learn English is using songs. So how can you work with songs during these times working online? And finally, this is a topic you have requested, which is very interesting. It's about inclusive education, special needs. So we're going to have a specialist on working and talking about that topic, inclusive education in the classroom. Okay, so that's going to be our calendar for for this week. So please stay tuned, check our Facebook pages so you can all have access through the links, and please talk to your colleagues and recommend the webinars if you really like them. And the surprise I was telling you, it's that we have now available. Let me see if you can see right now my presentation. We have opened right now our page, which is SM Formación. These are no webinars that are complete courses that I really invite you to explore, to take a look at the page. The web page is mx.smformacion.com. So we have a program, or we had several programs during the whole year in which we train teachers in different topics, different subjects regarding teaching in Spanish, and also that are related somehow to our language teaching. But this season, or let's say these difficult times we are having, or we are being through, we open some courses to have access. So registration is going to finish soon. So you are very interested in taking not webinars, but a whole course of several weeks, go on to the webpage mx.smformacion.com and explore a little, and you're gonna see the calendar for the next courses that they're gonna start and which ones are gonna be now open for all teachers. Remember that we have limited amount of teachers in each course. So if you're really interested in continue with your professional development and is related to our topic, go on to this page and explore a little about what we have in there. So this is our annual calendar of courses, but we just opened some of them for you to have it for free. So just check it out. And also you are interested in continuing your professional development, not only at the topic we offer for free for the other ones, you can look at the calendar and also what are you interested in. All right. So remember to fill up our survey. That's very important to us because we want to improve every day. So please do it. Remember that the workshop was professional development for teachers, and our speaker is Lucitania Tapia Perez. Thank you one more time, Lucitania, for all your knowledge. All the questions that are on the chat are going to be there, so you can consult, you can continue working on the new series or workshop we're going to have soon. And also, please, I see you tomorrow for all of you, all teachers out there. I see you tomorrow with using technology in the classroom, but especially we're going to adapt it for online classes. Thank you again for having us. I expect you have a wonderful afternoon. Please be safe. Thank you, Lucitania. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.